Hey everyone, welcome back to Trivia Bench, where we dive into the greatest moments and players in the fun world of all things sports. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a goal, stat, or storyline. Today, we're counting down the 5 highest-scoring NBA games since the 1990s. These are the nights when both teams locked into offensive overdrive, when the scoreboard operator had no chance to rest, and when fans walked away knowing they'd witnessed something extraordinary. Let's jump right into the list. Number 5. Houston Rockets vs. Washington Wizards, 2019. First up is a modern-era shootout that took place on October 30th, 2019. The Rockets and Wizards lit up the scoreboard for a combined 317 points, one of the highest regulation totals of the past decade. This was an era when the Rockets had fully embraced the analytics revolution: threes, layups, and free throws, while the Wizards were entering a season defined by high-scoring performances and defensive struggles. The result was a game that felt more like a track meet than a basketball contest. Both teams launched threes at a staggering rate, and defense took a distant backseat. James Harden and Bradley Beal both poured in huge scoring nights, and the pace hardly slowed from tip-off to final whistle. Fans who enjoy the modern NBA's emphasis on scoring, spacing, and long-range shooting look back at this game as a perfect example of where the sport has evolved since the 90s: faster, more efficient, and powered by offensive creativity. Number 4. Phoenix Suns vs. New Jersey Nets, 2006. Next on our list, we jump to December 7th of 2006. The Phoenix Suns and New Jersey Nets squared off in a game that didn't receive as much long-term attention as some others on this list. But the stats tell the full story. The teams combined for 318 points, a total that helped cement this matchup as one of the most explosive of the 2000s. This was peak 7 seconds or less Suns basketball. Steve Nash, Amari Stoudemire, and Sean Marion led an offense built around speed, ball movement, and spacing, long before today's three-point-heavy era took over the league. Every possession was fluid and fast, with Nash orchestrating an attack that kept New Jersey scrambling to keep up. The Nets, meanwhile, were fueled by Jefferson, Carter, and Kidd guaranteeing that Phoenix would be challenged shot for shot. The result? A back-and-forth offensive sprint where neither side seemed willing to slow down, even for a moment. While the final score doesn't push toward the record books quite like some others, this game perfectly represents mid-2000s high-octane basketball, two teams pushing the pace and executing at a level that felt ahead of its time. Number 3. Golden State Warriors vs. Denver Nuggets, 1990. Next on our list, a game played right on the doorstep of the 90s, November 2nd, 1990. A matchup that produced one of the wildest regulation scores ever recorded. The Warriors came out on top 162 to 158, combining with the Nuggets for 320 total points. And here's the kicker: there was no overtime. Just 48 minutes of pure, non-stop offense. This game was the defining example of early 90s run-and-gun basketball. Golden State's iconic trio, Chris Mullin, Tim Hardaway, and Mitch Richmond, collectively known as Run TMC, showcased why they were one of the league's most explosive units. Mullin scored 38, Hardaway added 32, and Richmond contributed 29, creating a relentless flow of fast breaks, quick pulls, and constant pressure. On Denver's end, 6 different players scored 16 or more points, including Walter Davis and Orlando Woolridge. It was the kind of game where every possession felt like a sprint, where both teams seemed more interested in seeing who could score fastest rather than who could set up a defensive stop. Even today, this remains one of the highest-scoring regulation games in league history, and a perfect example of how electrifying the transition into the 1990s really was. Number 2. Chicago Bulls vs. Atlanta Hawks, 2019, with 4 overtimes. Sliding into the number 2 spot is one of the most thrilling games of the modern decade. On March 1st, 2019, the Chicago Bulls and Atlanta Hawks delivered a quadruple overtime classic that ended 168 to 161 for a total of 329 points. This game had everything: late-game heroics, exhausted lineups, and rising stars pushing themselves to the limit. For Chicago, Zach LaVine was spectacular, scoring 47 points with a mix of drives, step-backs, and late clutch buckets. Lauri Markkanen added 31 points and an impressive 17 rebounds, helping the Bulls stay alive through multiple overtime periods. On the Hawks side, Trae Young delivered one of the greatest games of his young career, 49 points and 16 assists, showcasing the poise and creativity that would become his trademark. Every time one team tried to pull away, the other found a way to answer. By the time the fourth overtime hit, it felt like a war of endurance as much as skill. When the game finally ended, fans knew they had witnessed something special, one of the most entertaining offensive spectacles of the last 30 years. Number 1. Sacramento Kings vs. Los Angeles Clippers. 351 points in 2023 with 2 overtimes. At number 1, and towering above every other game on this list, is the February 24, 2023 showdown between the Sacramento Kings and the Los Angeles Clippers. The Kings squeezed out a 176-175 victory in double overtime for a mind-blowing 351 total points. Not only is this the highest-scoring NBA game since the 1990s, it's one of the highest in the history of the league. De'Aaron Fox and Malik Monk exploded for a combined 87 points for Sacramento, while Kawhi Leonard and Paul George countered with massive scoring nights of their own. The game was a perfect storm of pace, star power, and clutch shot-making. From regulation through the second overtime, both teams operated with an intensity that never faded. Big shots fell, mistakes turned into momentum swings, and the drama kept building until the very last possession. This game didn't just earn its spot on this list. It reminded fans that even in the modern era, with improved defenses and advanced scouting, the NBA is still capable of producing absolute scoring mayhem. And that wraps up the NBA's 5 highest-scoring games since the 1990s. From the early run-and-gun days of 1990 to the mid-2000s Suns revolution, all the way to modern overtime classics, these games show that offense has never gone out of style. I hope you enjoyed this video. Would you like to keep me fueled so I can keep making more? You can buy me a coffee by going to the link in the description. And hey, if you love sports history and trivia as much as we do, be sure to share this video, hit the like button, and subscribe so you never miss a story from Trivia Bench.